I still remember the exact moment I realized something was horribly wrong. I had spent years, blood, sweat and tears, saving every single penny for my granddaughter Lily's college fund. Every birthday, every holiday, every odd job I could scrape together went straight into that account. I thought I was being smart, protecting her future, making sure she'd have a shot at her dreams. But that morning, when I went to deposit the final check, my heart stopped. The account balance wasn't what I expected. It wasn't even close. It was like vanished. Every single cent gone. My hands shook as I stared at the screen. I refreshed it. Nothing. I pinched myself. Still nothing. I called the bank immediately. The teller assured me the account was legitimate, but something had clearly happened. I didn't scream. I didn't yell. I just sat there silent, thinking about who could possibly do this. My first thought? My son, Jake. I mean, who else would know how much I'd saved? But when I told him, he got this look on his face, like he couldn't believe it. "Mum, you sure you're looking at the right account?" he asked, suspicion laced in his voice. I could feel my chest tighten. Then there was his wife, my daughter-in-law, Rachel. Oh, the performance she put on. Tears streaming down her face, clutching my arm, shaking, whispering, "I don't understand. How could this happen? Who would do such a thing?" She looked so innocent, too innocent. Something in my gut screamed at me that she wasn't telling the whole story. But I stayed quiet. For now, I didn't panic. I've dealt with life's curveballs before. I quietly went home, sat at my kitchen table, and pulled out every bank statement I could get my hands on. I started going line by line. Every deposit, every withdrawal, every tiny transaction. And there it was, the truth. My heart sank so hard I thought it might break. Rachel had been withdrawing money, little by little at first, then bigger sums until she wiped the account clean. And what had she done with it? Online scratch-off games, fantasy betting apps, you name it. I didn't confront her, not yet. That's when I called an old friend of mine, retired from the police force, now working with a bank security team. "We'll get to the bottom of this," he said. And somehow, just hearing those words made me feel like I wasn't alone in this fight. Little did I know, the biggest shock wasn't just that the money was gone. It was what would happen when Lily found out. And trust me, she wasn't ready for it. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next when my granddaughter found out and Rachel's carefully constructed lies started to unravel in ways I never imagined. After I'd gathered all the statements and pieced together what Rachel had done, I didn't confront her right away. You know why? Because I needed proof. Solid proof. Not her crocodile tears or her fake sobs. I needed undeniable evidence before I went nuclear. I called my friend, Frank, the retired cop turned bank security guru, and laid it all out. I didn't sugarcoat anything. "Frank, she's taken everything. Every last dollar I saved for Lily's future. I've got the statements right here." He sighed, the kind of sigh that tells you he's seen this story 1,000 times before. "You've got enough to start an investigation," he said. "But let's be smart. We don't want her destroying evidence before the bank can lock it down." While Frank got to work, I had to act normal. I mean, how do you go about pretending everything's fine when your life savings have evaporated? Rachel was walking around like she hadn't done a damn thing. She even tried to coax me into letting her fix it herself. Oh, honey, no. I'd had no intention of letting her touch a single thing. Then came the hardest part. Lily, my sweet, innocent granddaughter. She was 16, a straight-A student, and the kind of kid who always believed in the goodness of people. I had to tell her, but not all at once. I didn't want her world to implode, so I started with little truths. Lily, some of your college fund money, it's not where it should be. We're figuring it out. Her face went pale. She grabbed my hand and whispered, Grandma, why would anyone do that? Her voice was trembling. My heart shattered. I hugged her tight and told her the only thing I could. Sometimes people make terrible choices, sweetie, but we'll get through this together. Meanwhile, Frank uncovered something wild. Rachel hadn't just withdrawn the money. She'd spent it strategically. Online gambling, fantasy sports betting, you name it. And the kicker, she'd made it look like legitimate bank transactions, hiding her tracks, thinking no one would ever notice. But we noticed. Every suspicious withdrawal, every app purchase, Frank documented it all. I started planning my next move carefully. I couldn't just go off on Rachel in front of Jake and Lily. That would have blown up in all our faces. I needed the timing perfect, and trust me, I was patient. Years of life have taught me patience pays off. One night, while Rachel was sleeping, I sat at the kitchen table and just stared at the statements. I traced every dollar. I visualized it. I felt her betrayal. And then, a thought hit me like a thunderbolt. What if this wasn't just about money? What if she knew she could manipulate everyone because she counted on them being too blind or too polite to notice? That's when I realized I couldn't just reclaim the money. I had to make sure everyone knew the truth, and that's when the plans started forming in my mind. But I had no idea. Rachel would fight back in ways I never imagined, and the first crack in her perfect mask was about to appear, right in front of Lily. The next morning, I knew I had to act subtle. Rachel was still strutting around like she owned the place, totally oblivious to the storm brewing. I could see the guilt hiding behind her fake smile. Just a flicker, nothing more. But I knew it was there. People always leave cracks in their armor, and it's my job to find them. I started asking her innocent questions about the bank. You know, little things like, hey Rachel, do you know when the last deposit went in? Or, I was just checking if our statements match the app. Can you double check? She'd stammer, shuffle papers, sigh dramatically. Classic. The guilt was bubbling up like a volcano, ready to explode. Meanwhile, Frank was working behind the scenes. He got in touch with the bank's fraud department and requested a full trace of all the app transactions. And boy, oh boy, the receipts came back like a punch in the gut. Every single withdrawal Rachel made, every dollar she spent on those stupid scratch-off apps and fantasy bets was right there in black and white. She had thought she was smart, but she'd left enough digital footprints for an army of investigators to follow. I kept Lily out of it for now, but she started noticing tension. One afternoon, she cornered me in the kitchen. Grandma, what's going on? Mum's acting weird. Her voice was trembling, and I just hugged her tighter. Honey, sometimes adults make really bad choices, but don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of it. She nodded, but I could tell she wanted more answers. Then came the moment that changed everything. Rachel called Lily into the living room, supposedly to talk about college plans. I watched from the doorway as Rachel started crying, big crocodile tears. She blamed the bank, blamed apps, blamed anything and anyone but herself. But here's the kicker. She slipped. She mentioned a transaction that only someone who had actually made the withdrawals would know. I froze. I knew I had her. That was the first real crack in her mask. Like blood ran cold and hot at the same time. I could see Lily's face shift from confusion to horror. That dawning realization hitting her like a freight train. Rachel kept babbling, but the jig was up. That night, I sat with Frank on a call and went over the evidence again. We had everything lined up: statements, app logs, timestamps, and even screenshots from her phone. We were ready to expose her. But smartly, legally, without giving her a chance to hide behind lies anymore. And yet, something inside me knew this was just the beginning. Rachel wasn't going to fold quietly. She wasn't the type to take responsibility. And I had to prepare for her next move, whatever it was. Little did I know, the next day would bring a confrontation that would shake the entire family, and Lily's tears would push me into making a decision I never thought I'd have to. The next morning, I could feel the tension thick enough to slice with a knife. Rachel had no idea I knew the full extent of what she'd done, but I could see it in her eyes, those little flickers of panic that she thought she could hide. I decided it was time to confront her, but I had to do it smart, calm, collected, and with Frank backing me up on everything. I called Rachel into the living room, told Jake and Lily to join, and just sat there, calm as a winter morning. Rachel walked in with that fake smile plastered on her face, clutching her phone like it was a lifeline. "Mom, what's going on?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. I could smell the fear behind it. I didn't waste words. "Rachel, I went through the bank statements. Every single withdrawal, every single transaction. You took it. All of it." She froze. You know that pause when someone's brain is scrambling for a lie, but the truth's cornering them like a tiger. That's exactly what happened. Her eyes darted around the room like she was looking for an escape route, but there was none. Jake's face went pale. "Mom, you did what?" His voice cracked. I could see the betrayal in his eyes, the shock of realizing his wife, the woman he trusted, had stolen from his family. Rachel started sobbing, big, dramatic, over the top crying, but it wasn't enough. I had Frank's report sitting right there, detailed, time-stamped, and undeniable. Frank helped me trace everything, I said calmly. Every dollar you gambled online, every scratch-off app you bought, it's all documented. She tried to argue, tried to make excuses, even threw in the classic, "I thought I could win it back" line. But the look on Lily's face stopped her cold. Lily, my sweet girl, was holding back tears, staring at Rachel like she was a stranger. You stole my future," she whispered. And in that moment, Rachel's mask completely shattered. Jake was furious, pacing back and forth. But I stayed calm. I didn't need to yell or scream. I just looked at Rachel and said, "Family means trust. And when trust is broken, even silence can deliver justice." That line, it hit harder than any argument. I could see the fear now. She realized it wasn't just a scolding. Legal action was coming. Insurance claims, bank investigations, everything. And she had nowhere to hide. Lily ran to me and hugged me, sobbing, "Grandma, everyone betrayed me, except you." That hit me right in the chest. I held her tight and promised her, "We'll fix this. I swear we'll fix this." And that's when I knew the real battle wasn't just reclaiming the money. It was about restoring trust, teaching Lily that even in betrayal, justice can be served if you stay smart and patient. But just when I thought we had the upper hand, Rachel made a move that no one saw coming, and it could have ruined everything we fought so hard to uncover. After the confrontation, I thought maybe Rachel would realize the walls were closing in and finally back off. Boy, was I wrong. People like her don't go quietly. They get desperate, and desperation can make someone dangerous, even if it's just emotional chaos. That night, I went to bed thinking the hardest part was over. Lily was asleep in her room, clutching her teddy, and Jake was trying to process the betrayal. I sat in the living room, sipping tea, going over the bank statements again, making sure everything was airtight. Frank had assured me, nothing she can do will erase these records. You're solid. But Rachel, she was cooking up something I didn't see coming. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Jake. Mum's missing a huge batch of files. All the bank statements she kept on her laptop are gone. I froze. My blood ran cold. Rachel had tried to delete evidence. That was bold, reckless, and idiotic, because I had copies, hard copies, screenshots, backups. But it was still a power move, a psychological attack. She wanted to make us doubt ourselves, make us feel powerless. I called Frank immediately. She's trying to erase evidence, I said. His voice went calm but firm. Good. That just proves she knows she's guilty. Keep your backups safe. Don't touch a thing. Let the bank handle the digital trace. It's stronger than anything she can delete. Meanwhile, Rachel didn't stop there. She started planting seeds of doubt with Jake, whispering little lies. Your mum's overreacting. Maybe she misunderstood the transactions. Maybe she mismanaged her own money. Typical gaslighting. I caught wind of it because Lily overheard one of the conversations. Her eyes went wide, and I knew I had to step in before Rachel poisoned our family any further. I called a family meeting. No screaming, no shouting, just calm, calculated truth. I laid out the evidence. Every withdrawal, every app, every fantasy bet. Every lie Rachel had tried to spin came crashing down like a house of cards. Jake's jaw dropped. Lily's face went pale, and Rachel's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. She had no words because the truth was undeniable. It was at that moment I realized something. Rachel had underestimated me. She thought I was just an old grandma who'd saved some money for her granddaughter. But I wasn't just a grandma. I was someone who had spent years being careful, observing, planning, and most importantly, protecting my family. And she had just poked the wrong bear. I could see her frustration turning into panic. She knew the walls were closing in. But little did she know, our fight wasn't just about money. It was about trust, justice, and proving that even in the darkest betrayal, there's a way to fight back and win. And just when I thought Rachel's tricks were exposed, she pulled one last move that threatened to destroy everything. And this time, even I wasn't sure if we'd come out on top. I thought after the confrontation, Rachel would at least take a step back, but no. She went full throttle. That's when I realized some people, when cornered, will try anything. Anything to save themselves, even if it destroys everything else. It started with a late-night call from Jake. His voice was tense. Mum, she's threatening to sue you. Claims you're accusing her without proof. I stayed calm. I've been through enough life storms to know panic doesn't solve anything. Plus, I had Frank, and we had a mountain of evidence. Rachel was playing her last card, intimidation. She wanted to scare us, make us doubt ourselves. She was trying to turn Jake against me, trying to rewrite the story. But Jake knew better. He had witnessed her tears, her lies, and worst of all, the destruction she had caused. He wasn't falling for it. The next morning, I sat with Lily at the kitchen table. "Grandma, what's she going to do?" she asked, clutching her notebook like it was a shield. I smiled softly, ruffling her hair. "Honey, sometimes people make bad choices and try to hide them. But when the truth is on your side, you don't have to be scared. We'll handle this together." Her little eyes sparkled with trust, and I felt a surge of strength. Frank had already lined up the next steps. We contacted the bank, filed a full fraud claim, and prepared everything for legal action. Rachel's panic was evident. She tried to clean up digital evidence, tried to make transactions look legitimate, but Frank had backups, traces, and screenshots that couldn't be erased. Every desperate move she made was being recorded, documented, and prepared for court. I could feel her anxiety leaking through the walls. Even Jake noticed it. "Mom, she's sweating bullets," he said, a mix of disgust and amazement in his voice. I just nodded. That's the power of truth. No amount of lies or manipulation can survive under it for long. Then came the moment that tested my patience. Rachel tried to manipulate Lily. "Your grandma's being dramatic. She's making a big deal over nothing." Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she looked at me and whispered, "Grandma, I believe you." That moment, that tiny spark of trust, was everything. It gave me the resolve to go all the way. We filed the legal case. Rachel was officially under investigation for theft and fraud. The bank froze the accounts and began the process to recover the stolen money. It was slow, tense, and nerve-wracking, but I didn't let myself waver. By the time the legal wheels started turning, Rachel's facade had crumbled completely. She wasn't just facing me anymore. She was facing undeniable proof, a bank investigation, and the family she tried to manipulate. But even with the legal battle underway, the hardest part wasn't the money, the fraud, or the lies. It was what Lily would feel when she finally realized the full depth of betrayal by someone she called Mum. The courtroom wasn't what I expected. It was quiet, tense, like everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the first move. Lily sat beside me, clutching my hand, and I could feel her trembling. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about trust, betrayal, and the kind of life lessons no parent wants their kid to face. Rachel walked in like she still thought she could charm her way out of it. But the second she saw the bank statements and the evidence lined up, the confidence drained from her face. The jury, the judge, everyone could see the truth without a single word from me. Her desperate, panicked eyes told the story better than any lawyer ever could. I stayed calm, even though my heart was racing. Years of saving, years of sacrifice, years of watching out for Lily's future. It all came down to this moment. Frank was there too, quietly taking notes, making sure the process went smooth. I leaned over and whispered to Lily, "We're going to get your future back. I promise." When the first witnesses were called, bank managers, digital investigators, it became crystal clear that Rachel had gambled every penny. Scratch-off apps, fantasy betting apps, online casinos, you name it. She had thought she was being clever, hiding behind excuses and fake tears. But all the proof was there, and as each piece of evidence was presented, I could see the walls she built around herself collapsing. Lily couldn't hold it anymore. The moment she realized just how much her mum had betrayed her, the tears came. Big, uncontrollable sobs. She clung to me, shaking, and whispered, "Grandma, everyone betrayed me, except you." I hugged her so tight, feeling her pain, her heartbreak, her fear. And right there, I knew every struggle, every penny saved, every sacrifice I made. It was all worth it. Jake was silent, staring at Rachel like he didn't even recognize her. Rachel tried to speak, tried to defend herself, but her words were hollow, weak, and meaningless. The damage was done. The judge didn't even need much convincing. Between the evidence and the heartbreak in the room, justice was obvious. By the end of the day, the court ruled in our favor. The bank's insurance started the process to recover every stolen cent. Rachel would face additional legal consequences for fraud, and more importantly, she couldn't hide behind lies anymore. She had been exposed completely. As we walked out of the courtroom, Lily held my hand, her head on my shoulder, tears still streaming, but a small smile forming. "Grandma, you're my hero," she whispered. And for the first time in weeks, I felt peace, relief, satisfaction, not from revenge, but from justice, truth, and love. But even after the court victory, the real challenge remained: rebuilding trust, healing Lily's heart, and showing her that family can survive betrayal if love and patience guide the way. After the court ruling, life slowly started to settle, but it wasn't like a switch flipped overnight. The money was being returned, yes, but what took longer to repair was the emotional damage, the shattered trust, the lies, and the betrayal by someone Lily had called Mom. I spent the next few weeks with Lily more than ever. We talked, cried, and even laughed sometimes. Every night I reminded her, "Honey, family isn't just about blood. It's about trust, love, and being there for each other." She nodded, wiping tears, and smiled, the first genuine one in what felt like forever. Jake was quieter, more thoughtful. I could see he was processing everything, what his wife had done, and how lucky we were to uncover it before it got worse. He came to me one evening and said, "Mom, thank you for everything. I don't know if I could have handled this without you." I just shook my head and smiled softly. We did it together. That's what matters. Rachel, of course, was out of the picture for now. The legal case ensured she faced consequences, and the bank recovered the stolen funds through insurance. She had been exposed fully, and for once, I felt no fear or anger, only a quiet sense of justice. One afternoon, Lily and I sat together, going over college brochures, planning her future. I couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. Years of sacrifice, every dollar saved. Every moment I worried about her future. It had all led to this. She'd still have her dream ahead of her, and she'd learned a powerful lesson about trust, resilience, and standing strong when people let you down. I realized something profound during those weeks. Life throws some heavy blows, and people you trust the most can sometimes hurt you in ways you never imagined. But strength isn't about avoiding betrayal. It's about facing it, staying calm, planning smart, and making sure justice prevails. The final moment that hit me hardest came one evening when Lily hugged me tightly and whispered, "Grandma, everyone betrayed me, except you. You're my rock, my hero." And in that moment, tears filled my eyes. Not sadness, relief, love, and the knowledge that despite betrayal, we had made it through stronger than ever. I looked at her and said, "Sweetheart, family means trust. And even when trust is broken, sometimes silence, patience, and doing the right thing can deliver justice better than anger ever could." That day, I knew I'd not only protected Lily's future, but also taught her something far more valuable: the power of truth, patience, and unwavering love. Life would throw challenges at us again, no doubt, but with trust, courage, and love, we'd face them together. Because in the end, it's not the money you save or the battles you fight. It's the love you protect, the trust you rebuild, and the family you stand by, no matter what.